Hey, you've no doubt heard before me talking about the dangers of becoming an asset manager rather than an asset gatherer. Here I have two live examples of how advisors got themselves in a real pinch when they're trying to sell their practice.
This is The Rare Advisor, proud to be a part of the Advisor Advancement Network and home of a business model supercharged by recurring and repeatable events. Your host is Mike Walters, CEO of USA Financial. He is an investment advisor representative of and securities are offered through USA Financial Securities, member FINRA SIPC, a registered investment advisor.
Hey, I hate to tell you I told you so, but sometimes you just have to say, I told you so. So we've talked numerous times here at the Rare Advisor about the fact that no one wants to buy your job, but many people would love to buy your business. What this simply means is that you should not be running your practice as if it's a job, as if it's a sole proprietorship. You have to run it as if it's an operation and organization. Primarily, that means you need systems, you need processes, you need people, and you need to have scalability. You need to be able to get, that opportunity, that leverage within your practice. And what I specifically want to talk about today is something we've touched on a couple of times before, but I want to give you a live example of this right now. And that is the fact that you need to be wary if you are doing what's called rep as PM. In other words, meaning you're acting as the portfolio manager. So you're not acting as an asset gatherer, or maybe I should say you're acting both as an asset gatherer as well as an asset manager. So you're building the investment portfolio, not selecting the models, not selecting the strategies, not selecting the asset managers. You, in fact, are the asset manager. You're deciding what's individually going to be held and traded and bought and sold inside of these portfolios that you're managing on behalf of your retail clientele. Now, that's fabulous if you're good at it and you enjoy doing it. That's one way of making the decision because you like to do it. The flip side, however, is there's a lot of dangers in that. We've talked about the fact that people have a hard time believing that if you're that good at it, why are you located in my small town? If you're that good at it, why aren't you a much larger organization, a much larger firm, a much larger practice than you actually are? And if you're that good at it and then you become not so good at it and the performance isn't any good, you're the only one left to fire because you are the asset manager and the advisor. Whereas if you're an asset gatherer and you're managing the models, you're managing the asset managers and which models you're putting into the portfolio, you might decide it's time to swap this model out for that model, or this asset manager out for that asset manager. And now it's actually your job to do the hiring and the firing within the portfolio rather than getting fired from the customer because you are the portfolio. So there's a lot of dangers there. And this just gives a perfect example of what this does to the value of your practice. Now, there are some really good groups out there that'll help you do M&A. They'll help you buy and sell practices. Succession Resource Group is a great bunch of people. FP Transitions knows exactly what they're doing. Succession Link is the one I've got in my hands here. Does a great job. There's all kinds of different ones out there. But these are some emails that I literally just received, and you may have received them too because they were an advertising email. These are two emails that came out 2 days back to back. I received them on a Tuesday and a Wednesday. And the first one is a $50 million AUM. So here they are, 1 and 2. $50 million AUM practice. So a smaller practice there that says, I am retiring and clients were set up to be transferred to another IAR. However, there are 14 clients with AUM between $3 million and $10 million each that have custom asset allocation plans and account designs. The IAR that is taking over the accounts will not support the client's customized needs. I am now looking for another firm that has experience in managing customer accounts of this size. All accounts are fee-based with mutual fund, ETF, stocks, unit trusts, no alternatives, and non-liquid assets. Current custody, and he lists who he's custodying with, and so on. But basically, what happened is this guy sold his practice. And this subset of clientele of which he was doing individual asset management on, the buyer doesn't want that because they don't want to buy his job. They want to buy his business. So now suddenly he's got this subset of clients that he's got to find a new home for, and he's trying to sell them separately from his practice. This is the problem. An investor wants to get economies of scale, and they can't do that if they have to climb inside your brain and decide how it is that you're doing the asset management, the buying, the selling, the trading, and they don't want to inherit that chain from your ankle to the corner of your desk. They want you to be an asset gatherer so that they can come in and you have systems and processes that prove to them how you gain and acquire new clientele. And then you can get the economies of scale through other asset managers, through model portfolios, through a TAMP program like USA Financial Exchange, things of that sort. Now, like I said, these came back to back. So here, the very next day, here's another one, $45 million AUM practice. We have 7 relationships totaling $45 million. The custodian, I won't name, is not the right fit for these customized portfolio strategies, and we are looking for an organization that works with customized accounts and has resources and experience with these types of accounts to take over the management. Again, they're trying to get somebody to take over these personalized programs. So again, you have to decide what makes you happy, what your sweet spot is in your practice. I'm not telling you you can't do this. What I'm telling you is be wary of the pitfalls if you in fact are making these kinds of decisions. Hey, thanks. Hope this helps you.
This information is for licensed financial professionals only and is not intended for use in soliciting sales from the public. The views expressed represent the opinions of the presenter or their featured guest, not necessarily those of USA Financial or its affiliated subsidiaries. Industry references are generic and not intended to represent actions or beliefs of any individual or entity. Content is only presented to illustrate general principles, beliefs, or ideas and should not be construed as legal or regulatory advice. Trademark and copyright protected. USA Financial and Affiliates.